The MISC Endeavour is a planned multi-role capital ship in Star Citizen, with the headline feature being modularity. With the potential to outfit the ship to fulfill a number of different purposes, naturally, the idea of customizing their own Endeavour has got many players excited about the possibilities on offer with this ship. I'm Forrester, and welcome to the Drydock, a series which delves deeper into the ships of Star Citizen. This video will explore the background behind the Endeavour both in and out of game, and then take a look at some of the attributes and statistics of the ship before considering how that all might translate into gameplay. There are timestamps in the video description, although if you're interested in the Endeavour, you might prefer to watch this one all the way through. And whilst this channel usually focuses on what's currently in game, necessarily, this video will navigate the treacherous space that is speculation territory. Whilst every effort has been made to approach this video accurately, sometimes information is sparse and much is subject to change as time goes along. So please treat the content with a pinch of salt and not as a definitive promise as to what will happen. And finally, to all of you who are itching to point out the spelling of the word Endeavour in this video, I can confirm that having checked thoroughly, the correct spelling has been used in line with the King's English. All of that said, let's dive into the background of the Endeavour. The MISC Endeavour was first announced in September 2015 with 2 design documents and 3 Q&A articles on the Star Citizen website. Since then, news of the ship has been fairly quiet. Despite a long development window for the Endeavour, in-game information is also relatively sparse, save for the classification of different types of ship based on their intended purpose. MISC identifies the Discovery class as an Endeavour pre-equipped with labs and storage, potentially used for illicit substance production, and an Olympic class as a space farm. Perhaps the most famous variant is the Hope class, used by the UEE as a mobile hospital ship providing troop support. The Endeavour has a complicated price history. The core ship was priced at launch in 2015 at $350, but each of the modules was sold separately, with players mixing and matching to select what they wanted. The end result varies wildly depending on the module selected, but ranged to a master set for up to $1,000. The stated purpose for the Endeavour is as a modular capital ship, leaning more towards the peaceful, scientific and research type of disciplines. The modularity is key, allowing players to some extent to flex the purpose of the ship to suit their own needs. The Star Citizen website describes the ship as a heavy science vessel. Based on current information, the Endeavour would have a total length of 200 meters, a total width or beam of 48 meters, and a total height or depth of 20 meters. The total mass of the Endeavour will be around 4,055 metric tons. Some of these dimensions may be out of date and may also change depending on which modules are equipped. By way of components, the current plans would suggest that power would be provided by a capital-sized and a large power plant, with cooling provided by 4 large coolers. Additionally, the ship would carry a medium-sized radar and 4 medium-sized computers, although those capabilities could be augmented by installing additional modules. Defensively, the Endeavour would carry 2 large shield generators. The specifications also list 2 large fuel tanks, 2 large hydrogen fuel intakes, and a capital-sized quantum fuel tank. Both the quantum drive and jump drive are listed as capital-sized. In terms of propulsion, the specifications list 4 retro thrusters, 9 main thrusters, and 18 fixed maneuvering thrusters located around the ship. By way of armament, the current specifications for the Endeavour suggest a very lightly armed ship, with only 1 turret carrying 2 size 5 weapons. The crew specifications for the Endeavour note a minimum crew of 3 to a maximum crew of 5. The Q&A does mention that the ship could potentially be operated by a solo pilot, albeit at reduced efficiency. In reality, the crew requirement may well depend on which modules are installed at the time. The base amenities aboard look set to include 500 SCU of cargo storage and the usual habitation type stuff. One of the interesting features of the ship is that it's split into 3 sections, with an exploration section at the front, the modular workshop section amidships, and the drive unit at the back. The frontmost explorer is set to be detachable, and whilst not equipped with a jump drive, looks set to provide a platform for getting to slightly more dangerous areas. Then there are the detachable modules that really give the Endeavour its flavour. Some modules are set to expand base capabilities like the science, crew, research and fuel utility pods, but other modules could potentially introduce new gameplay. The biodome module is set to be some sort of a hydroponic/farming zone to plant seeds and have them grow in the safety of a protective bubble. The telescope module is set to aid jump point discovery and look very cool whilst doing so. And the Super Collider module is set to support overclocking gameplay to improve other ship modules and equipment. And the medical bay provides hospital support to players through medical gameplay. Then there's an optional landing bay module giving ships up to the size of a Cutlass Red the ability to land aboard the Endeavour. There's some suggestion that further modules may follow in future, such as defense modules with turrets, or cargo modules similar to the Hull series cargo spindles. The precise gameplay use for the Endeavour will vary depending on what modules are equipped. Some of the more unique ideas based on the concept work are things like space farming, or for using the Super Collider to run an overclocking operation. These are gameplay possibilities that aren't currently in-game and aren't currently replicated by other ships. The Endeavour is set to lean into the more peaceful gameplay loops, but given that most of the things mentioned in the design document aren't in-game or even fleshed out in any detail, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. It seems quite possible that as the ship edges closer to release, some of these gameplay use cases might materialise. Things like exploration, science, crafting, or even production of illicit substances could all be on the roadmap, but without a reference point, it's hard to know what that might look like from a gameplay perspective. One exciting gameplay use case for the Endeavour, or perhaps the Hope class model, is as a space hospital. Of all of the potential gameplay loops, this is one of the more accessible with what's currently in-game. The idea of having the landing bay able to take casualties aboard, bring said casualties to an appropriate hospital bed, and nursing them back to health is compelling. That makes the Endeavour a great choice for combat support, particularly for those interested in medical gameplay supporting first-person combat. Another potentially interesting use case is as a snub fighter carrier. Whilst the landing bay isn't the biggest, set to measure 30 meters wide by 65 long, equipped with snub fighters, it might be possible to fit quite a few aboard. The Q&A does note that only a single landing bay module can be equipped, but even so, being able to ferry around a large number of mini-ships could be quite engaging for fleet gameplay. It's been quite difficult to make this video because the Endeavour is one of those ships that has incredible potential, but so much of it is so far removed from anything that's in-game now, or even in concept, it's hard to put your finger on quite what that might be. That said, the modules have been sold to players for real cash, so there will be a lot of people out there hoping to see that gameplay materialise in the future. There's a lot of love out there for the Endeavour, and it's quite easy to see why people are eventually looking forward to it hitting the verse. At the risk of going on for too long, that'll pretty much wrap it up for the Endeavour here, and so it's over to you to share your thoughts in the video comments. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, you might like to do that too, so that you can get the heads up for new videos on the channel, as well as super colliding onto the like button if you like heavily narrated slideshows talking about fictional spaceships. Otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.